Joining us now is Okpe with stories trending around the world. Hello, Janex.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Good morning, Tundu Abiola.
Good morning,
Smiling
Oji.
too much. Good morning, Rufai. Great. Well, good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, President Joe Biden rolled out a new wave of financial sanctions on Wednesday against Russia, which he says would place a lasting penalty on the country's economy for his atrocities in Ukraine, including Bucha. The sanctions singled out Putin's family, targeting his 2 adult daughters, in addition to blocking 2 Russian banks. In the United Kingdom, Prime Minister Boris Johnson told broadcasters on Wednesday that transgender women will not be competing in female sporting events amid the fallout from his decision not to ban conversion practices for people questioning their gender. In Burkina Faso, former President Blaise Compaoré received a life sentence on Wednesday in absentia for his role in the assassination of his charismatic predecessor, Thomas Sankara, who was gunned down along with 12 others during the 1987 coup d'etat that brought Compaoré to power. Miriam, Sankara's widow, who attended the trial throughout, said the verdict represented justice and truth after a 35-year wait. Under sports, late football legend Diego Maradona's shirt, which he wore during the 1986 World Cup quarter-final against England, in which he scored the Hand of God goal and the goal of the century, is up for auction and is estimated to fetch more than £4 million. The iconic blue jersey has been in the possession of former England midfielder Steve Hodge, who exchanged shirts with Maradona after Argentina's 2-1 victory. Finally, under entertainment, the 74th Emmy Awards is set to go live on NBC on September 12th. According to the Television Academy and the network, the Emmys will be held on a Monday and not the usual Sunday because of NBC Sunday Night Football. Last year's ceremony, hosted by Cedric the Entertainer, was on CBS and had a limited in-person theater audience due to COVID-19 concerns. The nominations for the Best in Television will be announced on July 12th. Well, let's begin what's trending. Alwan Hassan, the acting managing director and chief executive officer of the Bank of Agriculture, regained his freedom on Wednesday after he was captured by terrorists following the attack on the ill-fitted Abuja-Kaduna train on March 28th. Well, according to reports, his family allegedly paid the sum of 100 million naira to secure his release. However, in a video that has now gone viral, the terrorists claim that no ransom was paid. Well, in a video, a group of armed men could be heard saying that they released the managing director because of the month of Ramadan and because of his age. Well, Al Hassan was among many passengers declared missing after the train attack incident. According to the Nigerian Railway Corporation, about 392 passengers were on board the ill-fitted train. 182 have safely reunited with their families, leaving about 162 passengers still missing or abducted by the terrorists. I don't know if you guys saw this video that was circulated. I believe you guys took the story ahead of time, but let me take a tweet before I come to you, Tundu. This is from Lanre, who wrote, my questions. 1. On what platform did this picture first appear? 2. Who received it and from who? 3. Are there no government officials keen to ask these questions and find answers? 4. How did the family pay the ransom, cash or transfer? Shouldn't that pave the way to them, I guess? But, you know, they're saying that they did not pay ransom. I don't even know why they're saying that. There were other videos also showing that they may have paid ransom, even though they are not verified videos. But this is so heartbreaking. At this point, we shouldn't be having terrorists releasing videos. How did that even happen?
The audacity.
The audacity is the audacity
it happened
for me.
Because they've been allowed to ride roughshod over the rest of us. We just had a conversation with retired Captain Babangida Aliyu that I find extremely scary, extremely sobering. When terrorists have the temerity to say that the federal government knows what we want, that is really chilling, those words. What exactly does that mean? The rest of us have been shut out of this conversation. So on this issue of whether ransom was paid or not, I don't think it's the politically correct thing to do to admit the payment of ransom. You'll recall that in the many kidnapping cases that we've had in Nigeria, and I can't believe Nigeria has become like Mexico, there are just so many kidnapping cases. There is this trend where a family will pay ransom but then deny it. Probably out of fear, probably because it's not the done thing. Everybody always has that line they maintain of, oh, we don't negotiate with terrorists, when they in fact do negotiate with terrorists. Because human life is at stake, the life of your loved one is at stake. So you do what you must, but it's not palatable to admit it. The issue for me now is what happens to the rest of the people that are in the custody of these people? What happens to the others that have been kidnapped for years and have still not been recovered? Their children who are still in the custody of terrorists in this country that have not been recovered. What exactly is the federal government going to do about this? What exactly gives these terrorist groups the audacity to say that they have made some kind of demand of the federal government that the public is not aware of? What gives them this right? This tweet that you just read is asking pertinent questions.
Yes.
These are not ghosts, they're not phantoms. They're actually living and breathing, and everybody knows exactly where to find them, but nothing has been done.
It is so
it just
unfortunate.
goes to show that it's whatever system exists in this world is deliberately created and it's been sustained. That's just the bottom line here, and it's frightening.
For me, what killed me the most, Rufai, was when the Al Hassan was saying that he was terrified for the people that are still held in captivity, that their state at this moment is, really dire.
Our country has become a joke. Terrorists do press conference. You can
that's what it appeared to be.
People. I saw the hand of somebody holding the camera, trying to get the accurate position, and they are releasing these videos. Terrorists now do press conference. In fact, they have a PR team.
How did this happen?
We have intelligence in this country. This video was posted. Nobody has been able to use timestamp to ascertain the actual time it was posted and the account it generated from. We have intelligence agency in this country, and nobody has been able to interview the man that was released and do a post-marking. We have intelligence agency in this country. Nobody has been able to send an elite special unit to go straight at the terrorists. They made telephone calls. Nobody can use geolocation to ascertain their particular coordinates. I have heard about cases of kidnapping that from a phone call in this country, they ascertain the coordinate and they fish the person out.
Yes, I have heard those.
We have heard these things. So what is really happening? And a lot of people are going on with these stories, and I don't buy that cock and bull story of, oh, we released him for Ramadan. It's a lie.
Ramadan, you're a terrorist.
Ramadan means nothing.
You're a terrorist.
Ransom. He had the heaviest ransom to pay, and nobody said. So the truth is,
now you care about Ramadan.
we should ask ourselves, what do we want for ourselves as a nation? The nation is bleeding as it is already. And I feel the government of this country owes Nigerians the responsibility to stop this. As enshrined in the Constitution, Section 14. Please, government, do your constitutional deed by stopping all of this that is happening, because we can truly stop it if we want. What kind of country have we built? The last time I heard that terrorists had a PR unit was the Islamic State. When those ones had a newspaper called That Big. Before you know it, terrorist newspaper will start selling our newsstands.
Good heavens.
Rubbish.
Dr. Abati.
Well, Captain Babangida Aliyu told us that these persons are not Muslims. He pointed out that no Muslim will be smoking Indian hemp. Well, don't let me say Indian hemp, cannabis, during the month of Ramadan, or will be engaging in the kind of activities that these terrorists engage in. In other words, he was telling us that these are anarchists, these are nihilists. So it would be wrong to associate them with the Islamic religion, because their activities during the holy month of Ramadan does not show, any form of Islamic conviction. That's the first one. The second point is that this advertisement of this video just shows how scary the situation in the country has become. Mr. Al Hassan is lucky. We were told he was being released because it's a month of Ramadan. We have already dealt with that. And because of his age. But more importantly, because he has paid a ransom. We don't know what that amount is. Okay, he is privileged, acting managing director of a Bank of Agriculture. So he probably would, have the opportunity to mobilize the necessary funds. And what this tells us is that this is about a sub-economy that has been created around terrorism in Nigeria. Invariably, it's the Nigerian people themselves funding terrorism because, people out of desperation, out of anxiety, out of fear, would rather pay the ransom, knowing that the government of the day, or the government of Nigeria will not be there for them. So Mr. Alwan Hassan has been released now to go and rejoin his family. The BBC reported that 168 persons are still in the custody of these terrorists. Now, who is going to pay the ransom being requested, with regard to those remaining 167 persons? The Constitution of Nigeria recognizes the equality of persons. What we have seen also with regard to this tragic terrorist act is that, look, this is a very unequal country where if you don't have access to funds, if you don't know people, you might as well die in the bandits' den, in the terrorist den. The third part of it is to go back to the point made by Governor Nasir Rufai of Kaduna State, that look, there's enough intelligence. I think Minister Rotimi Amechi also made that same point. Now, we keep seeing this in the age of technology, right? In the age of artificial intelligence, in the age of, advanced military operations. And yet, the Nigerian government folds its arms and looks at this. I'm sure that many people in government will also have watched this video. Okay, everybody will just say, don't worry, we are working on security architecture.
Unfair.
Really a country unfair. Cannot have a military institution that is peopled by bricklayers. We want soldiers.
Yes.
People who can deploy intelligence to give effect to the interest of the people of Nigeria. I think it is sad that we keep showing this. And it's not an excuse to say that, it happens in other parts of the world, because that's a convenient excuse. In other parts of the world, they address it. What are we doing to address this? And I will end with my usual comment that everybody is going up and down. They want to be president of Nigeria. The position of president of Nigeria has become so common now. I won't be surprised if my mechanic tomorrow declares that he's also interested in becoming president of Nigeria. That's how the position has become. But whether he's a mechanic that wants to become president of Nigeria, or a bricklayer, or an Okada rider, whoever is interested should just ensure.
Absolutely.
And remember that insecurity remains number one on top of the list as the things that we'll have to deal with in this country.
Well said, Dr. Vati. We'll take another story. Reactions have trailed the gesture of the governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, who on Wednesday distributed 260 cars to traditional rulers in the state. The governor also commissioned an ultra-modern headquarters of the State Council of Ulama. While the distribution of the cars and the inauguration of the headquarters was performed by the Sultan of Sokoto, Saad Abubakar, at the government house in Gusau. During the event, the governor said the gesture was done in recognition of the status of the traditional institutions as the custodians of religion and culture, and as the vehicle of cohesion and peace in our societies. Well, let's take some reactions. This is from Isaac, who wrote, "Yep. Dignity of traditional institutions is the important thing when everyone else lives in poverty and insecurity. Well, at least this investment in traditional rulers will yield result in the next elections, since they can preach the message to their followers." Wise move. Well, Olusegun wrote, "If it's not his personal money, it's a waste of public funds, and he should be asked to refund the money to state treasury. This amount of money can be used to buy cars for unemployed graduates, used for Uber or taxis, or even split among market women to improve their businesses, plus scholarship. Well, Olusegun is like really, he should be a special advisor to the governor, because I mean, what's happening here, Rufai? 260 cars, Cadillacs. Did you see those cars?
Yeah, Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Where we have a car producer in this country called Innocent, you are going to buy Cadillac, enriching the American economy rather than in Nigeria. And apart from that, why this level of waste? I think it should be investigated. Under what premise do we now buy cars for traditional? Zamfara lives in abject poverty. People, after Gusau, the rest is poverty-ridden areas. The Human Development Index in Zamfara is low. It's sub the national level, which is about 0.5. No roads, nothing. You are buying cars for traditional rulers. You can't fix the problems on ground. Why do we do this to ourselves in this country? Who bewitched us in Nigeria?
You always ask that question.
Because you see, this can only be witchcraft.
I
mean, if you're this indignant, how do you think people who are being owed salaries, allowances, and pensions in Zamfara feel? There's actually a legal tussle at the moment regarding that. There's a pension arrears running into billions of naira, and you see this. It beggars belief.
Unfortunate.
Okay, let me put it like this.
Sure.
Now, first, I share the view that buying Cadillacs, buying expensive cars for traditional rulers and district heads, those big cars are meant for the traditional rulers. The smaller ones are meant for, district heads. Maybe some second-hand used vehicles, grade A, Tokumbo, as we call it, will have just been adequate. But in terms of cost, this is quite on the, high side. But I think we should try to understand where Governor Bello Matawalle of Zamfara State is coming from. Yes, in my view, this is sheer opportunism. He got into that position of governor of Zamfara State by default on account of a Supreme Court judgment that pushed out the APC that won the election in that state on account of, problems of internal democracy within the APC. And he became governor by default. Obviously, Matawalle is doing long truth. He wants a second term, and he wants to water the ground, at the expense of the people. So that's why I talk about opportunism. Now, the second part of it is that as a recognition of the importance of the traditional institution, that also should be stressed, because all the governors in Nigeria do it. In the First Republic, this country had House of Chiefs. This country had, traditional rulers playing very prominent role in politics. Obadesoji Aderemi, of blessed memory, Oni of Ife, the Odemo of Ishara, the late Oba Kinsanya. These were very prominent politicians also. The Ulama of War, the late Sir Lateru Olagbegi, he was also a very prominent man, in the politics of the First Republic. But then, of course, the new post-colonial leaders reduced traditional rulers to one penny obas. They took over the authority of the state. A dilemma that is well dramatized in Wole Soyinka's Kogi's harvest in the personality of Obadan Lola in that particular play. But despite that, despite the attempt to suppress the traditional institution, politicians, the nouveau riche, they continue to recognize the importance of these persons. So during election period, election period is also chop time for traditional rulers. And that's why you see many of these presidential aspirants going from one traditional ruler to the other. They don't go there with empty hands. Because when you go to an Oba's palace, you are supposed to put something down. You are not supposed to take something away. Exactly. So that is what is happening. It's not only Matawalle that is guilty. But the issue is, these traditional rulers, many of them, they go beyond the bounds. Some palaces are turned into voting units, into polling units during election time. Some of these traditional rulers, get involved. They stockpile, what is it called? PVCs. Yes, and they determine the influence, who can win. But maybe I should keep quiet because I will still need these traditional rulers at some point. It's not everything a hunter sees in the forest that he discloses on television. But this is a sheer opportunity on the part of Bello Matawalle.
So you've been buying cars for traditional rulers?
No,
he didn't say so. He didn't say so. Well, all right. Let's take our final story. Ahead of the 2023 presidential election, several support groups have been campaigning for the presidential candidate of their choice. Some have made campaign posters rallying across states. Others are making campaign videos, as we'll see in this viral video, made by supporters of Vice President Yemi Osinbajo.
Children, why are you not getting ready for school?
Because we're not going to school today.
Why?
Because Professor Osinbajo has refused to declare. He is the hope for a better Nigeria.
He will declare.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure he will. Very soon. Yeah. What is happening?
This woman refused to give me peace in this house, all because of Osinbajo declaring for presidential election.
And we don't rest until he declares.
Let him declare so that there will be peace.
Well, in another development, the governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, when he visited stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party in Gombe State as part of ongoing consultations ahead of the party's presidential primary election, was heard in a video that is now making rounds on social media telling them not to waste their votes on candidates that cannot win the 2023 general election, but to look out for just his name. Let's take a look.
Follow me now. Follow me. Let's go to the Eagle Square 28. As they give you the ballot pack, don't look anywhere. Wicked. I don't know what you're someone saying. If someone touches you, you say, "Are you wicked?" Don't touch me if you're not wicked. If you say wicked, what did I say? Wicked. What did I say? Wicked. Do you hear me? Wicked. Say it again.
Rufai. My relationship is, and what? Touch me.
My relationship is
PDP.
urgy.
No.
Everything is urgy.
This guy does. He always cracks me up, Dr. Abati.
I know.
He doesn't stop. I cannot stop. But this video has gone viral, really.
Well, lawyers campaigning for Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo. That's quite an interesting one.
Yeah.
But I keep saying that, look, all these persuaders, I don't know what kind of persons they are. Because if the vice president is interested in this office, the simple thing is for him to come forward and say that he is interested in the race. But again, Section 84, subsection 12, will probably tie his hands in the same manner that it ties the hands of other public officers. Because that section of the law, which has not been, Electoral Act, which has not been overturned, will require you to resign your position. And so, even if the vice president is interested, he probably is in a difficult place. He also has a moral challenge. But I keep talking about courage. The courage to be different, the courage to dare, the courage to say, well, this is my choice in this matter. But the other moral challenge that confronts the vice president is his former boss, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. As for Wike, look, there are many potential Nollywood persons in politics, Nigerian politics. From
it was Dino Melaye.
From Dino Melaye to Governor Wike. I've made a major discovery this morning to see that, Governor Wike, even if he doesn't succeed with his presidential ambition, we do very well joining Nollywood. As a man who was once a theater director once upon a time in my life, I can see the kind of roles
you can spot talent
in which I can cast.
Dr. Abati, I think you should also be.
I was once a theater director.
So you are scouting.
You can tell now.
So obviously, you are scouting from the Nigerian political elite.
Maybe when I retire from all of this, I just go back to teach. And I would
no, you have to do stand-up comedy. You have to do that. Well, thank you all
for
your beautiful analysis as always. That's all I have for you on What's Trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.